Alright, we are now moving on to number 3 here. And so, again, this is the next type of question you could be asked into finding all 6 trig functions. Here we're going to be given the angle 3 pi over 2. So again, as always, we draw the angle first. So here's my axes. And then again, I have positive, my initial side is always on the positive x-axis. And then I normally go up, we go up 90 degrees, but it's also pi over 2 radians. So this would be positive pi over 2. We're also going to go in this direction because it's a positive angle. So pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2. So it is this angle here. Okay. Now, this angle is what we call a quadrantal. Quadrantal angles are angles that fall on the axes. Alright, so it's directly on the x or y axes. Now here's the thing about this. There's no way for me, after I draw my angle, my next step is to draw my triangle. There's no way to draw a triangle to the x-axis here because I'm flat on this line. So this is where we have a special type of problem to do. What we're going to use is we're going to use the unit circle actually to help us out here. So what that is we're going to draw a circle. And it's a unit circle because it has a radius of 1. So for example, this point here, that has the corner point 1, 0. This is 0, 1. This one is negative 1, 0. And this one is 0, negative 1. Right? And now, when we use the unit circle, we have a special rule to use to find out what these trig functions are. We are going to say that sine of theta is equal to the y coordinate here, and cosine of theta is equal to the x coordinate. One way to know this is, or one way to remember this is, they go in alphabetical order. Cosine comes before sine, x comes before y. So we can do that. So, sine and cosine are really easy to find. Sine, again, is the y coordinate. So the y coordinate here is negative 1. So sine is going to be negative 1. Cosine is the x coordinate. So cosine is going to be 0. Right? And then, the last one is tangent. You might not know, hey, how does tangent fall into this? Well, luckily now we know our identities. So we could rewrite tangent using the quotient identity as sine of theta over cosine of theta. And in this case, hey, I know sine of theta is equal to y, cosine of theta is equal to x. So this is just going to be negative 1 over 0. So tangent of theta is negative 1 over 0. But here's the thing, you can't divide by 0. We get undefined. So tangent of 3 pi over 2 is actually undefined. And as we saw in our graphs, tangent here would have a vertical asymptote. And that's what the undefined tells us. So now, to get the other 6 trig function, we're going to take the reciprocal again. Alright? So cosecant, that is the reciprocal of negative 1. So if I'm given negative 1, I need to flip the fraction. Well, I don't have a fraction here, so I'm going to make it a fraction. I do that by just putting this over 1. I always put a number over 1, and it stays the same thing, right? Negative 1 divided by 1 is 1. So now I'm going to take the reciprocal, and that's become 1 over negative 1, which again, that is just going to be negative 1. So cosecant is the same as sine here. It is negative 1. Alright, let's do the same thing for secant. So cosine of theta is 0. So I'm going to put it over 1 again, turn into a fraction. 0 divided by 1 is still 0. And then from there, I'm going to take the reciprocal, and that's going to become 1 over 0. Well, we saw that happen. Similar situation, when I divide by 0, that is undefined. So, secant's also going to have a vertical asymptote as well. And now here's cotangent. So again, I said, hey, it's best to do some of these with the non-reduced form. I don't want to deal with tangents undefined and take the reciprocal of that. I don't really know what that is. But I knew tangent was negative 1 over 0. So now I'm going to take the reciprocal. I'm going to take negative 1 over 0 and take the reciprocal, which is going to be 0 over negative 1, which is 0. So cotangent here is 0. So I got sine is negative 1, cosecant is negative 1, cosine is 0, makes secant undefined, tangent of undefined makes cosine of 0. So when you're doing these problems, right, if you have something that's 0, the reciprocal is undefined, something undefined, the reciprocal is 0. And that we'll see also in our graphing when we do that as well. Alright, so that's how you deal with any quadrantals. Alright, quadrantals are set to fall on the x and y axis. You have to use a unit circle to find it. And it's these points in this key to help us out. Alright.